he's allowed to really drop.
Right.
Or TV has made him.
You think
I don't
Gordon behind the scenes is even harsher?
I wouldn't want to see him. Period.
I've heard he's a really good guy.
Yeah, I hear
would
he's a total
imagine
sweetheart.
That's
alpha.
like actually.
But I think in like his kitchen,
show.
like whenever it gets tense, I think that he turns that on though. Like it's very much like this.
Oh yeah.
This is a
MasterChef
fast
Junior. He's a saint to those.
Dude,
kids.
he warms my loins. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here. I'm like, I would
Yeah,
have
he's
your
great.
kids. Fuck you, great. Like,
Warms your loins.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me? He's so wholesome. I love Gordon.
Am I allowed to
He
use
is
that
great.
saying from now on?
Yeah,
do.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, that kid's so cute. But that kid warms my loins.
Then she will leave.
I want. You better credit me for that shit though. I don't
Oh,
want
I
Kelly
will.
being like, "Oh, you're so funny," and I'm like, "No, Dylan's funny."
Well, Dylan's funny. I'm not.
Poke out of a shrub. No, that's
Right.
mine.
Right. All right. We all ready?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna be yelling this whole review. Like this.
There's gonna be more cuss
I
words
feel
on
like
this
I'm
one.
gonna be that quiet kid just
No.
sitting there taking it.
We're gonna be looking at Nathan halfway through. Why are you trying to fuck with my band? Well,
It's not my tempo.
it's not my tempo.
Not quite my tempo.
Sorry. Welcome.
There we go.
To the F Movie Podcast.
Give me a little double time on that, Dylan.
I'm your host, Dylan. With me today, also our host, Price, Mason, and Nathan. In no particular order.
Yeah.
Although I will send my top 8 text out later to let you know where you are on my list.
Oh.
On your top friends.
Yeah.
Gotta keep you all accountable.
Fair.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Whiplash today.
It's that movie about the Iron Man 2 villain, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He wants his
forgot about
bird.
him.
Yeah, it's Whiplash.
Oh.
His bird.
Forgot about
You had to
that.
really dig
Want my
down
bird.
for that one, yeah.
Hey, I know my geek references.
Want my bird.
I want my bird. So anyway, tell us what happens to the Latino man whipping Iron Man.
No. Luckily, we're not talking about that one. We're talking about the 2014 wild little thing. Miles Teller plays this freshman kid who's in this very prestigious music school.
Schaefer.
Yeah, Schaefer
Schaefer, thank
Academy.
Forgot that.
He's a drummer, and he is trying to get to the top of this studio band. It's like the best. You get the best connections if you're in this. If you're what's it called, a core member.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's drumming along. He gets noticed by the conductor guy. Conductor?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's alright.
Conductor.
It's a conductor.
Yeah,
Conductor.
conductor guy.
Fletcher.
J.K. Simmons, which plays
Fletcher.
Fletcher.
Yeah.
Hey.
Fletcher and what's Neiman?
Neiman. Fletcher
Andrew
and Neiman.
Neiman and I can't remember the guy.
We will refer him as Miles Teller and J.K.
J.K.
Simmons throughout the
Simmons for the
remainder of
rest
this
of the
I
time.
remember Fletcher is in Neiman. Just
Yeah.
because they were yelling at each other
Yeah.
so much.
Fletcher! Neiman! Fletcher!
So basically, Neiman, which is Miles Teller's character, just kind of works his way into this core group, and J.K. Simmons toys him along like a cat toying a mouse along. And it's like that the entire time. There are good parts, there are bad parts, there are very intense parts as well.
Unapologetically brutal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
I mean, he literally says he won't apologize.
It's
Yeah.
psychological warfare, basically, this entire movie.
You know how I would describe this movie?
Dude.
I would describe this as a gay rom-com about a toxic couple.
Okay.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
Right?
Tell me where I'm wrong. By the end of the movie, they're eating dinner.
You got
There's-
some different friends
Yeah,
than I do.
I agree. But Mason, why'd you pick this movie? Why is it on the wheel?
This movie, I've seen it a few times, and I do think that it gets better and better. Before I get too much into it, okay, much like The Social Network, it makes you care about a subject that you probably don't care about going in. Jazz music.
Oh, I love jazz.
Well, jazz sounds nice, but you never think
I've seen the
anything
B
about
movie. I like
Yeah.
jazz.
Shut up.
So
Never
this
picked that movie.
This movie, if you actually
don't
were to
doubt
take
it.
6 steps back
Psychological.
and look at it, it is about this guy who is just drumming
Yeah.
and bleeding a lot.
Ow.
God.
See, he's
and
always
the same
bleeding.
music playing over and over and over again. Like, it's the same 2 songs. And it's if you actually look at it, it is only like a few segmented parts, but they do it very, very well. I like Miles Teller's character. I really like J.K. Simmons' character. All the way down to Melissa Benoist.
Hey, you didn't know she was in this movie because she, honestly,
She has like 4 lines of dialogue.
4 lines of dialogue.
I don't know who that is.
She's
the
the
girlfriend.
The girlfriend?
the girlfriend.
It's Rooney Mara from The Social Network, basically.
Yeah. fuck
Oh, is
No.
that her?
Same role,
Oh,
different
Same role.
actress. She's Supergirl.
all right.
She's Supergirl.
Very pretty.
But yeah, so that's the summary.
Mhm.
Now, You guys can.
Now, you said this movie does something that's surprising and make you like jazz. The best comparison I can think of for this movie was actually Warrior. Because the whole time it's doing these it almost seems like a drum battle. What
the
they're
drum
having.
is the action, right?
And when that's going on, it feels to me almost more intense than the fights in Warrior did. It made me so invested in drumming, which I never thought I would ever say. But unlike Warrior, it just does away with just pretty much all the baggage stuff. Like, there's no family, there's no whatever, Nick Nolte on, there's none of that stupid
Say that
stuff.
like it's not awesome.
You still gave it a 9.
I know.
It's just mostly... Oh, I would retroactively take that down.
I don't think you gave it I think you gave it like a
I watched
7.5.
I watched Warrior again. It does not hold up as much because of
That's
that.
not
But
true at all.
anyway, in my
Don't listen to
opinion.
him.
But this movie, it does away with all that. It just throws you right into this world. Just right into everything in the middle of it going on. You don't know anything about Schaefer. You don't know anything about the main character. It just plops you right in this world and just takes off. This movie never slows down and is just constantly building and building and building. You seeing if that button's needed?
I didn't. Go on.
It doesn't matter. No, somebody else can go. I just want to say that was my main thoughts about this movie.
So just one little quick thing that I think is funny about this movie is this is about a whole group of people playing jazz.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's actually not. It's only about the drummer.
Right.
Which could be considered the heart. That's how I get. I have no idea.
I mean, drums do keep everybody in
but,
the rhythm.
Everybody else performing, he doesn't care about any of
They
that.
got a free
You
pass.
all are expendable.
He is only after breaking this one man.
Oh, I love it. I get to be the one to defend this movie like they were doing Annihilation the whole time.
Okay.
So the whole thing about Fletcher is that he is looking for his next Bobby Knight. I forgot the name of the drummer.
Bobby Knight.
The story about that one the composer who threw the cymbal at that person, and that's when he turned into Charlie Day, or I forgot the name of the drummer.
Charlie Day is actually from Always
It does.
Oh my God.
It doesn't matter, but that's what Fletcher's wanting. He is
What name is
chewing
he
up
with
all
next?
these people because he's looking for who's going to be his next prodigy, and then he finally spots Neiman, who he thinks is going to be that next person. So that's who he focuses all his rage and hate on to try to turn him into the prodigy that he's been wanting all these years.
Counterpoint. Every person in that band should be there for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think, my headcanon is...
He's not filling out that cast with just people just to be there to make a band. He wants any one of those people to be that next great musician.
30 of those lotto tickets, but...
maybe he sees more potential in our main character.
He feels better about this lotto ticket.
Still, it's I don't know. I mean, the movie's about the main character, so you can forgive it that. But I just thought it was funny. It's there's this whole group of people, yet we barely see him give any other character the kind of attention.
But that might be
him.
off camera. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
Because, let's be real, every interaction that our main character had with the tuba player, the saxophone player, the trombone, the trumpet, which wasn't many, was very dry. None of them had personality at all. They almost all seemed, flat and just, they didn't really want to be there.
The only person in the band that got any kind of interaction, any meaningful interaction, was what I was talking about right before we did this, which is... I don't know. There's so many of my favorite scenes in this
top
movie.
5 part.
Yeah, it definitely was. When you first meet Fletcher, and he seems a little bit off-putting and everything, and then he takes Neiman out, and he's like, "Oh, tell me your background. I want to know how to coach you and stuff." Goes back in, and then they start playing, and immediately he's saying somebody's off tune. I can't figure out who it is, and then. For 10 minutes, he's trying to figure out who it is, narrows it down to this one person, and it says, "Do you think you were out of tune?" And then he says, "Yes." And then why the... I don't know.
Why the fuck did you say something?
And
for the record, it was Frederick who was out of tune. But because he didn't recognize that,
it's just as bad.
Just as bad.
But that's the only time anybody else gets any kind of interaction, because it's basically going to just set up that Fletcher is really a demon.
Yes.
And is going to tear apart anybody in his path.
Let's make something very clear about this movie. Neither of these people are good people.
No.
Yeah, you don't like either of them.
No,
Well,
like, all right,
I don't.
I think Neiman at his heart is a good person.
He is almost too passionate.
Yeah. He's like
he dumped his girlfriend
But
because
he
like
dumped his
almost
girlfriend.
like novice too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know.
All right, so if you've seen a review of the novice, because you have, because this comes out.
I
after.
think that there are some similarities in our main
So I think there's
characters.
a lot. I think
There's a
this
tremendous
guy.
amount.
I
I think
think
it's a very similar movie.
I think they're similar, but like I said in my review of The Novice, like she seemed slightly autistic in her
She was
interactions.
psychotic.
Neiman realized the kind of effects that his drive
Actions.
would drive him to,
Yeah.
and that's why he broke it off with the girl that he had been pining after for the longest time, because he realized you're going to push me back, and then he did have a horrible time doing that.
Yeah.
When she
Right.
said, what did she say? That basically I'm going to make you a worse person. He's like, yeah, that's basically it.
Right.
Well, and she
That-
also
all
called
right.
him out on his bullshit of basically saying like, "Oh, so
Yeah.
you know what you want to do with your life, but you're telling me that I don't."
Because I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's not
And he
me,
said,
right.
Yeah.
So
He
all,
just ripped the Band-Aid as quickly and he ran out of there. Actually,
Right.
she did the running.
Yeah.
So it's something that I don't necessarily find endearing because honestly, I think they know what they do. When you cast Miles Teller as a character, you're like, this person cannot be, the person you're supposed to feel heartwarming and good about. Like, when
He
he's
just looks like a frat guy you want to punch.
he gets slapped the shit out of him. by
Yes,
J.K.
he
Simmons,
does.
which makes me love J.K. Simmons
You
more.
put Andrew Garfield in this scene and you're like, this doesn't fit.
No, yeah, too lovable,
Right?
too
Yeah.
lovable. So plus we get to the point where he gets into the fucking car wreck and it goes to do the drumming thing. Fails
Yeah.
because not even Fletcher is that sympathetic to it.
Yeah.
He gets kicked out. They have the little thing where they talk about how Miles Teller's character, we find out later, snitches and just gets him fired because he says, "Oh yeah, like my mental health suffered because of Fletcher or whatever."
I was thinking about that scene where after the car wreck he goes and performs. I'm trying to weigh in my mind is because Fletcher has a drive to keep his band very good. He's
Right.
like, you're not going to be the reason my band loses. But he also wants to have this prodigy that he wants to be able to put his name on. So I can't decide
It's
in
a
that
hard
moment.
balance, yeah.
Like at that point, he could either let Fletcher go, like kick him off, let the band win with the other
The
guy,
backup, yeah.
Right.
or he could leave him on there and try to like nurture him as his prodigy still.
I see.
Which he chooses to do the latter.
The
which,
whole time.
I don't really
You
know.
can't stay in Fletcher's mind. Like, you have no fucking idea
Yeah.
what strings he's pulling on purpose and what strings he might not be pulling at all. The binder. Did he
I
misplace the
know.
binder?
Did Fletcher just go snatch it
Yeah.
because he said, "All right"?
Because
anybody
let's be
loses?
real. If this guy is his prodigy, if he saw,
Yeah,
he
he
saw him
gives
in a
him
pantry closet down the hall and he really wants him to be his core member
Mm-hmm.
drummer, he might have misplaced Connor or Tanner. I think it was Tanner's
Yeah.
binder, which the whole thing, like,
You're not giving your boyfriend a handy here, Jerry. Hurry up, Tanner. You gotta go faster.
don't come early.
Yeah. JK's fucking lines. Oh my god. Many of which we will not quote. But no, I'm not touching it. Not touching it. But so here's my other thing, where the movie title Whiplash really starts to make sense. Right about the last 10 minutes when
Yes.
Fletcher and Neiman, they like, all right, so at this point Fletcher's been fired because Neiman had said, "Oh yeah, like I was, all these bad things happened to me because of this," and they don't tell you that right away in the movie.
They do. They do.
What?
I didn't feel like you. I don't feel like I knew until Fletcher said, "I knew you did it."
About
Literally in the lawyer's room or whatever, like whenever he's talking to that attorney,
Right.
he's like, "Tell me what to say." He goes back and forth on it prior to that,
Right.
but eventually, a minute or two later, he
yeah,
says,
like it's a
okay,
it's a little bit of him thinking
tell
in
me
his
what to
head,
say, yeah.
and then
Right.
he says that, and it's just like, okay, well, yeah.
Which-
I mean, it's
No, I missed that part entirely.
it's not.
Okay.
I don't think that takes anything
It's an
away
easy
if you
thing to
don't
miss.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that it makes that part even sweeter
So,
when
right.
he walks over there. He's like, "I got you, bitch."
Right, like
basically,
when
right?
Fletcher sits there and switches in just a song that he doesn't know, so he's looking like a fucking dummy on the drums because he's a dummy. Fuck you, Miles Teller. So, watch this. I hate you. But whenever he does that switch, I was just like, oh. And then like Teller leaves, comes back, and he comes in, and then Fletcher wants to fucking hate this guy. And I love that he just dings the top at him, right?
Yeah.
But then like Fletcher's just like, fuck, but he's doing good, so I want to foster this flame, and it's just
Power
so,
balance.
I know.
Right?
It's so much like, tell me that these guys don't fuck after this performance. Tell me
That's where you got that.
Tell me
from.
Whiplash 2. That's where they get into
I'm
the couple
telling
point.
you, after I got done with this movie last night and it goes to black after that, it leaves
best
it
part.
open ended. And I audibly said out loud, and Kelly will vouch for me that I said that's an incredible finale. That is how you end a movie. Because we don't need them at the end to go arm in arm up there and be like, this is my prodigy, we're friends now, and here's his mom coming back because everything is good, and here's him in his new role, we're doing great. That's not what it needed.
Here's his admission letter back to the Shaver. I'm working back too.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah. We are Schaefer.
Yeah, I will say the ending definitely.
Yeah, it's a strong ending.
It was right when it needed to stop.
Yeah. That solo was 9 minutes.
I believe it. It was like that Nickelback solo.
While I was watching it, when he was still going on the drums and still beating and everything, I promise you all, Caesar was asleep, and then he looked at the TV, and he was just looking at it. I was like, you're right, buddy. It's still going.
Still doing it, buddy.
It's going a long time. Yeah.
And then he just went back to sleep.
I think this, like, the movie executes on a lot of things really good because it doesn't have a giant scope. It doesn't try to accomplish too much. It's very much, here's Neiman, he drums. Here's J.K. Simmons, he yells.
That's what I'm saying.
Go.
Like if you take a few steps back and you look at this movie as a whole, you're like, cool, there was drumming, there was screaming. And there was a pretty okay plot. But, again, I think it's so fluid throughout. From the very beginning, one of the first scenes is whenever J.K. Simmons comes into the room, whenever he was just doing a cadence, just practicing some random, JV level cadence. He comes in, he's like, did I tell you to stop playing? You answered me about playing again? What the hell kind of answer is that? Right. And then, like, he's just playing his heart out. He looks up, he's gone. He's like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Then he comes back in. Sorry.
J.K. Simmons, alright.
Forgot my coat.
So,
and then just turns around.
As entertaining as I find it, I go back to the point, these are two awful people. Like, this person is
they're
self-obsessive, awful. Revenge, that, Neiman.
Again, I very much disagree. I don't think Neiman's a bad person.
I think he's a terrible person. I think that he's somebody who's...
He's endearing in the fact that he's still hanging out with his dad. Like, you can tell that he has a connection.
Yes.
But you have this dad sort of complex of, like, you're not going to do something else?
You know what I want to cue, Price? Our favorite thing.
Dinner table
scene! He's like...
Oh, yeah. I have the quote for that.
Yeah, what's the quote? We're going to talk about this movie for an hour.
Oh, yeah, we are.
The Price the entire time.
Obviously, what is his cousin?
Yeah, it's like their cousin.
Okay, Dustin, his cousin.
Yeah, the Division III, like, MVP.
Yeah, playing some random little college team. Anyways, he comes in and he's talking about it, and Miles Teller just goes like, it's Division III, and just the whole table goes silent. And then everyone's like, excuse me?
He's like, why don't you play?
Yeah. And then like, there's some turmoil, there's some like discretion, and
it's why we actually
yakking back and forth, and then Dustin's like, he's like, you know what, Andrew, if you think you're so tough, why don't you come play with us? And he says 4 words you'll never hear from the NFL, which is just this whole thing. Of like,
and I get the point that the dinner table scene is making. It's a little bit on the nose, but still, I do resonate with it because just like thinking about all the time.
You're being a musician.
Think about all the times growing up, and I'm thinking Thomas, my older brother, may have sold a few razors or something, and my dad's like, "Look at him, look what he did." I was like, I mean, I know it's a hobby, but I made like diamond in the league. That's 1% of the world. Yeah. He's like, but look at this guy, like he did that. I'm like, well, that's still pretty cool too, and it just doesn't recognize an achievement he does not understand.
Exactly, and that's throughout this whole movie.
I guess I never had that because. None of my brothers ever.
Your parents seem like very awesome, like especially your mom seems very awesome and like new age in a way, like she understands that kind of stuff. My parents, no.
I don't think you have to have siblings or cousins or anything that are overachieving, to the extent of like whatever you're doing to understand that moment in his position.
Not at all.
He's a jazz musician that's trying to make a career out of being a drummer. Like it would be like being an actor. There's a billion of them. Like, how are you going to make your show?
Go to LA.
It would almost be like saying, like, you're an actor and you're in Juilliard.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but...
Or a dancer.
What were you going to say about it, Dylan?
My big gripe with it is that he goes so fucking aggro on the cousins, and they are...
They're his age, though.
Yeah, sure.
They've probably been doing this for years.
Probably. But... It's the thing where it's like, okay, so clearly, like, the uncle doesn't understand, like, the gravity of how big that is. And that's fair. So, like,
for sure.
Say shit to the uncle. But these dudes are just like, all right, he got MVP in Division III.
Yeah,
I mean they were like, all right,
they were really smug.
No, they look
really
smug, but they never do anything at his expense.
They kind of do because when he's trying to say about him doing his jazz stuff, if you look at them, they're kind of sneering at him. Like what you're doing really doesn't matter.
Also,
I'm staring at Miles Teller too. To be fair, though, fuck that guy. But the point. So my point here though is that they never go. If they go in with a 1 or a 2, he goes in with a 9.
No,
he did not go that hard.
He is fed
went
up.
Pretty hard.
He's fed up with the whole talk, and I think he just lashes out, and then. What do they get? They get a little bit more aggressive, and then guess what he fucking gets?
Right.
A little bit more aggressive, and it just
keeps escalating. What?
You know, I don't think that it's...
I didn't get to have subtitles of this movie, unfortunately. So what was it that made him leave the table? Like, they said something, I didn't catch it because I couldn't hear it.
Ones.
Oh, yeah.
It was like his uncle or his dad.
Like, they said something to really piss him off, and that's when he left.
I don't remember. He deserved it. But... And I think that's the point I come to, is just, like, anytime anything happens, like, for me, I felt in this movie, I'm like, he deserves that. Like, he's not being a very chill dude. Like, alright, it's one thing to
understand your mindset. I know you go in not liking Miles Teller.
No, because, listen, I'm fine with passion, but passion doesn't need to sit there and say, my thing is the most important thing in the world compared to everybody else.
That's not what he's saying. He's saying, like, at that dinner table scene, he's saying, like, I have made the top team in the top music place in the world.
He wants his appropriate recognition. I get that.
Yeah.
But...
No,
he wasn't getting it. Fucking these people don't understand. All right, then know your shit. If you're in a niche thing, don't sit there and be...
It's his family, though. Those are the people that should understand more than anybody.
That's okay. We all should know that.
And from the moment that they sat down, they were talking about Dustin and all this and all that.
Yeah,
like,
okay, because they're clearly football dads, and they're clearly like the Southern dad dudes who care more.
But he's like, your family. Like, if anybody's going to understand this, you didn't see him doing that to his girlfriend. He just said like he's at one of the top places. That was it. He didn't try impressing on her. Hey, this is the top place. This is how much time it's going to take. You need to realize how awesome this is. Yeah. He doesn't do that with her.
And how much time I'm going to have to, blah, blah, blah.
He just says, you're like a girlfriend that I'm going to meet, but I'm going to put you to the side. It's not worth explaining to you.
So, end of the day for me, the character lands on the side where it is so passionate and it becomes self-centered. It's become so driven that he totally would not care what happens to anybody else if they got in his way. With Fletcher... Because Fletcher sat there and was like, "You're out," and
he tackles him.
He tackles him. He tackles him.
Throws the drums out of the way.
Throws the things
in the middle.
Literally
of a
attacks
stage,
him.
Full audience.
But that's almost a psychotic break at that point.
A little bit, but then also afterwards things calm down, and he takes a revenge tour to get him fired.
He was concussed as well.
Right. All right. I'll give him a
big time.
Okay. So he probably shouldn't have been fired. Fletcher shouldn't have let him up. You're like, you look like you just got into a car wreck. What are you doing? Don't go to a hospital, you fucking idiot. Let me do the long sleeves. That's how.
There you go.
Yeah, you fucking retard. How stupid do you have to be to get into a car wreck and then come over to my band and ruin? Go.
You're bleeding on my set.
Yeah, he was bleeding on my drum, and he would throw him, and he get pictures of Spider-Man while you're at it. Fucking J. Jonah Jameson.
You're being a menace.
Right. So, all right, he gets kicked from the band. A little extra on Fletcher's part, but then he gets revenge by sitting there and saying, "Yeah, whatever," and he just makes up whatever to get Fletcher fired. Because it's that selfish ambition. He didn't need to do that. If anything, he recognizes and respects Fletcher for how much he pushes and how far he puts that into. Even if he hates being on the end of it, this character has shown time and time again, he feels like he still admires Fletcher all the way to the end.
I wasn't really sold on him selling out.
Right, which I think is why I missed that beat.
I don't feel like he should have done that.
No.
He almost opted out. Like, his dad pushed him to do it. His dad was like, look, man, I don't want to see you.
So maybe that's why they were selling the dad angle.
Yeah.
To try
he was in that same room.
Right, but it still feels like, I don't know, for that character to even push it that far, even if he does get it pitched, like, he doesn't feel too bad about it after the fact. Like, you don't see him.
I just feel like you're going in with so much preconceived hatred for Miles Teller that it is reflecting on...
That's definitely what I'm vibing with as well.
Miles Teller sucks, but they made a character for Miles Teller in that way. And like,
no, they didn't make one for him. You said it perfectly earlier. You said you don't put a nice, handsome, charming, beautiful guy that everyone loves and society adores into his position because he is really passionate. He's so passionate that I do think that
he's difficult, he's self-centered, he's in this. So that's why they put Miles Teller in there, because that's what you want out of the character. Listen, I'll say this, Miles Teller did a great job with the role. He made me feel how I'm supposed to feel. I'm not supposed to like him. He's not supposed to be endearing. He's supposed to be passionate, self-centered, self-driven to a fault, to a point where it makes everybody else around it just be like, they get burned because they're even just next to him. Because I am the most important thing. I need to be the most important person.
He's Anthrax, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You just don't want to be near him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fair. And to be fair, Fletcher's a terrible person too. He should have been fired. He was awful. He should not have been getting away with what he was doing. He was smacking college kids around.
Yeah,
that doesn't fly.
I mean, like, his character crosses the line, but you do understand.
You understand it,
the angle.
But in normal day society, if I walked into a band class and the teacher smacked the shit out of me, I'm like, you're fired, bro. Fuck you.
But think about it. It's the top music place in the country with the top composer.
That's how they give you the context to make it seem realistic enough to not be like, this is absurd. Because it is the top of the top, it gives you just enough context to make it make sense. In reality, if I go to Harvard and any teacher lays hands on me, we're going in it.
Dylan, to be honest, none of us are the top of the top.
No, we're not. And you can't.
We can't understand what those people, like, do.
Whoa. Award-winning.
Oh, get out of here!
2-time award-winning for podcasting.
I mean, there could be something said for, like, a place where there's a lot of people that are that, like, top talent, hard-driven, like, maybe things are a little bit different.
I don't know.
What time period was this set in? I was never super
It feels
clear
loosely
on that.
modern, like, anywhere.
Yeah, it does feel
Yeah,
loosely modern, and... So
although he does have that weird
that,
CD and a stereo thing, which I'm not sure if it's just him being a band niche
retro
retro
totally
kid
a band
or...
thing. Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Fucking music
Everything's
people.
still on disc.
So I don't know. Like I don't think he gets away with it in the modern age.
No.
Is the thing.
Can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah.
Like
all right,
this
kind
of character makes sense if they had like said it in the 90s.
All right, let's before we keep going, let's
you can hit people.
Let's establish the trenches first. Mason and I seem to be on the side with this movie. Nathan's trying to like be a little bit middle ground, shading a bit more towards the movie. Dylan sees Miles Teller and has an RPG on the side. It's like, I don't care what any of you say.
He deserves it.
This is where I'm staying.
It's not even about
grenades and chucking them everywhere. Well, so the thing is, like, it doesn't really matter if this guy really exists.
Right.
This is a prestigious school. People are willing to do what it takes to stay in his class.
Sure, I've seen a novice. I get it.
Don't you look at me, you bastard.
Right? Same character.
No, it's not.
I think we can.
It's literally the exact same.
I think we can move it along.
Yeah, we can move
from the dinner table scene and the whether or not he can get away with slapping in modern times and all this stuff because it's just like, well,
some of that language doesn't land. That's for sure. He's canceled.
Fletcher's canceled.
I think some of his lines are what make this movie.
Oh yeah,
incredible.
That being,
you keep saying that like we can't repeat them.
Honestly, it's not even so much about the lines. It's the execution. Like fucking.
Because J.K.
Simmons
has such a good
popping
voice.
Out of his head, the voice.
They always are looking like it's on that one, right? So
he might have been sweating this entire movie.
Both of them were.
Or they were just spraying
Miles
his head constantly with water.
Miles is fucking squirting body fluids out of his body the whole time.
He's like just bleeding
he's
from his
bleeding
eyes,
half the time.
practically.
Yeah,
sweating the other half. God, it's like he's at a
Can you imagine how worn
Chipotle
out
or
he would
something.
be? Yeah.
Exactly.
But
anyway.
I just would think just how long he did that solo and then he started bleeding towards the end. Like, of course he would.
Yeah.
He's drumming maniacally for like 20 minutes.
I'll cue you in! I'll cue you in! Yeah. Alright, let's get on with this thing. We've been on here for a while. I'm pricing the Annihilation review.
Annihilation, we talked so much longer.
Oh, well, we've done two back to
Well, I
back.
mean, Annihilation.
Oh, there's a nice mini movie. There's a lot more psychological.
So this is, I mean, it's a good thing though that it's. It's a
listen,
small...
simpler is better for this movie. If this movie was trying to be a psychological thriller or expand their scope,
fair enough.
I'm
waving a small white flag to tell
Miles Teller.
Another like great quote, and I tried to just grab a few that weren't J.K. Simmons because J.K. Simmons has a billion of them.
All of his lines are fun.
They are like not a bad one. Something about the good job. Like there's not a more harmful 2 words in the vocabulary than good job. Anyways,
that says a lot about his character.
Yeah. Right before the car crash, of course he gets there after renting the car. After the bus breaks down, he's got all this crap. He goes in there and he's forgotten his drumsticks. Right?
Idiot cannot be on time.
You know what? And he deserves it.
Like be there at 6 a.m. Just set your alarm earlier, you stupid idiot. No, he didn't. He woke up at 6:03.
The alarm never goes off at any time.
The whole thing was just that he got there and nobody was there.
Yeah.
But he was.
He was late. If Fletcher was there,
true.
Yeah, he.
I think Fletcher was there at 5:58. Waits until 6. Says fuck this kid. Goes to go get breakfast for 3 hours.
Yeah,
and then just.
That
could be it. That's why he comes in with such vitriol whenever he finally arrives.
I 100%.
That was his first chance, and he failed.
He's already fucking up.
Yeah. But anyways, after he had forgotten his drumsticks, J.K. Simmons was like, fuck you, this is my part, I'll give it to whoever I want, and there's just a screaming match by everyone. Connor, the backup drummer, pops his head in, is like, "Hey man, come on." Miles Teller turns around, is like, "Shut the fuck up, Johnny Utah. Turn my pages, you bitch." And that was one of the best lines of the entire movie.
I still have turned my pages with such an insult with them because they said it sometimes when they were on the kit with each other.
That's the only thing that they do. The backup drummer only turns pages, I guess.
I will say that, so this character plays in the world that they're in because everybody else is such a fucking douche. Also to
everyone in this movie.
Right off the bat, everybody's terrible, right? Except for Melissa Benoist.
Yeah,
she's fantastic.
Fine.
Yeah. Real sugary sweet.
She carries that date so hard.
She does.
Yeah.
Miles Teller is very undateable.
They should not have had a second date.
No, that was an awkward date for sure.
Yeah, she was just trying to pull it out. Like, why? You could do so much better than him.
I think Damien Chazelle knows that. I think there's more to it because it's the same guy who did La La Land. So, which makes sense when you think about it.
She's in La La Land?
No, the director is the same one who.
Oh.
Same director.
Wow.
So, Damien Chazelle, I think he sees that. He goes, because, La La Land is so music and romance together, which, And then you see this movie, and, I wonder if he's like, Miles Teller's really unlikable. I can't do this. I can't. I gotta write this down. But then it makes you wonder why we even do it at all, because honestly, it feels, I don't know, I guess, honestly, he's the most human, redeemable, likable by nature when he's with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So just leave those scenes. I honestly I love Melissa Benoist, but I don't think that she's needed in these scenes at all.
I feel like she's only there so that he can break up
with her.
Yeah. To show her that he's
just
exactly
to be like,
right.
I'm not serious about this.
And just to show that he is by nature going the right course, right? He's meeting someone, he is trying to maybe go on a date with her while also being very it's just a human element of it all. He might not necessarily have wanted a side piece or a side project because, let's be real, his main piece was drumming.
Yeah.
Oh, he gets inside those drums.
He punches them at one point.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I do have a quick joke for you all. So after I got done watching Whiplash, and today during work I was watching just Whiplash reviews, watched Stuckman talk about him, and then I watched Jeremy something, the red background guy. Y'all know who I'm talking about?
Jeremy Johns.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no.
He talked about this movie, and at the end of it, he was like, Miles Teller really sold me on this role, so I really think he's a good actor. I'm really excited to see what he can bring to Fan Four Stick because I think that if there's a real good shot, it could be good.
A fantastic form.
Fantastic.
I was going, oh, baby.
Wasn't he the Human Torch?
No, he was
stretchy guy.
Stretchy.
Oh, he was Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that movie was dead.
No, I remember liking that movie up until the last 35 minutes.
Dude, that movie
and I was like,
so bad.
What the hell did they try to do?
This had Miles B. Jordan in it.
He was the Human Torch. Yeah,
he was Human Torch.
I've just seen unanimously just shit.
And Kate Mara.
Movie.
Yeah, it's a terrible movie. Yeah, great. I mean, mostly good cast, but bad movie. Anyway, we're not here for this.
Totally. What's the next thing? Is it?
It's the question. The question was, did you guys see any similarities to the novice in this?
Almost exclusive. I told Nathan beforehand.
I'm sorry.
I said,
Nathan's in the middle going, Mason, stop.
I texted Price, and I was like, I did not realize how similar these movies sort of were.
I said during that day that I was just like, wait, this is just the novice with drumming, And I was saying to you, I was just like, it's like somebody was like, copy my homework, but make sure nobody knows, but make it look a different.
Different.
This is like the Novice 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. This is the slightly less, manic and crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the Novice.
So the Novice has obviously
same
the main
self-harm.
character. But you don't get the J.K. Simmons character, even something like him in The Novice, because her own worst enemy was herself.
Yeah, she's beating herself up, whereas he has somebody beating him up. Yeah. All of the people around her are trying to be so nice and so considerate, and she's the psycho.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. Here's my 5-second question.
Please don't.
If J.K. Simmons walks into The Novice, he walks in, he's the new coach. Do you bat an eye? Does that movie change at all?
Yeah. Drastically.
That character?
Not your impression, but
the coaches in The Novice are all very good-hearted, trying to help you calm down.
Those aren't real coaches.
Fletcher's like, I see potential in you. Keep it going.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
But do you feel tonally he would feel jarring?
If he's the coach, she dies at the
She's
end.
100%
She
dead.
dies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a dead person.
She kills herself by the end of that movie.
Maybe halfway through.
Yeah.
So
it turns into a different movie. I don't know.
Fair. All right.
I do have another question, similar to what I said earlier. Were you all honestly more invested in the finale of this movie or the fight in Warrior between the two brothers at the end?
You can't do that because it's the Warrior, obviously.
That's tough.
I know where you stand.
Duh.
I know. I mean, I think this is one of the best finales I have seen in a movie.
I'm not saying this is a bad finale, but you just picked the most ridiculous comparison. Like, okay, not super ridiculous and unstoppable, but
I think it's very similar.
It's a tough, like, side-by-side, because, like, with Warrior, there is an entire universe of, like, what's already happened. Like, there's two different families on the line, the dad, the alcoholism, the this, there's the fighting, there's the this. The end of this movie is literally just, like, this guy's relationship with this guy, and how there's a power imbalance, and, like, maybe someone's career is on the line at the end.
The stakes are hardly remotely the same between the two, because really it's pride. I mean,
the stakes are different. It is
Don't get me wrong.
about pride.
Yeah.
I love the eye scene. It's like one of those, like, images that you'll just see forever from, like, films, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Miles Teller's, black, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it is one of the better finales that I've seen. I don't know, man. I'm gonna call a draw just because, like, I liked Warrior just because, like, he did win. I know you didn't like Warrior because Tom Hardy didn't win.
He should have won.
He shouldn't have won.
In your eyes, he should have won.
But again, I wasn't invested.
Does Tom Hardy beat Miles Teller in this movie, though?
With those traps, maybe.
Yeah. Who hits harder?
Can
Tom Hardy in Warrior or the car from Whiplash?
Can Miles Teller have his drumsticks against Tom Hardy?
Right. Honestly, I think Tom Hardy. I mean, Miles Teller walked away from that.
That's true.
Mad Dog didn't even walk away from Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
So.
They had to drag his ass off.
Yeah, every time.
I
so
do
good.
think that the end of Whiplash did a lot to make to bump up this movie. I'm not gonna get into my score just yet, but that ending was a really good ending. It finally made you like Fletcher a little bit.
A little.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit. Like it almost made you happy to see that he was finally cracking a bit of a smile and was like,
And someone beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, in theory, he's been on top this entire movie. Even after he got let go. Like, he went to that bar, that little piano bar, and he was still vibing, man. He was still living his life, just doing his thing, and, like, he was still on top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in his own world, and I don't know.
He always had that over Miles Teller character until the end. Miles Teller finally gets it over on him, and then he coons.
Yeah.
And then they make love to each other. You can't tell me.
Yeah, totally.
Nathan, finish that thought.
I mean, that's really most of what I've got. I mean, the fact that it cuts out when it does, yeah, I mean, that's perfect. It's been a while since Warrior. Does it spend a lot of time, so they walk off and then that's
the movie, and then it's got something.
Yeah, so I mean,
crescendos and goes long.
I thought it goes back to the house for a scene after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you would know better than
It's a happy ending.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Okay. Fight ends, he carries Tom Hardy off, music ends, they pass by dad, credits.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to run through some of these trivia things and then we can move
still
on.
appropriately cut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Film was shot in 19 days.
That's impressive.
That's fast, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
to be
there's
fair,
nothing there.
How many
You can see
locations
that.
are
Right.
we dealing with here?
Mm-hmm.
It's really just about who's going to be more sore after fucking going
Miles
at it
Teller's
for
hands.
10
Oh, God!
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned that he was, like, sweaty the whole time. Evidently, the director would not yell cut just so Miles Teller could, like, keep drumming and just, like, basically just be exhausted.
I did know it was actually Miles Teller getting into the drum stuff.
Yeah, so...
That's a credit to him.
Yeah, so I'm going to try here. Whenever he was slapping him, evidently they were all just practice slaps until the actual take. And then, yeah. So you kind of got, like, the real...
Seems like exactly what
those are pretty hard smacks,
I know. Yeah.
J.K. Simmons is yoked, too. Have you ever seen his Instagram?
His arms look really good in that movie.
Yeah, he's shredded.
It was actually blood on the drum set. It was his blood.
Gross.
Because...
That's pre-COVID.
I know, right?
Pre-AIDS.
So that last drum scene was 9 minutes, that solo.
Mm-hmm.
As far as... I'm trying to think. So you said something about Miles Teller. He's been drumming since he was 15. 40% of the drums that you hear in this movie were actually Miles Teller's. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they had a double.
Yeah.
And then... Oh, and whenever he got tackled, J.K. Simmons broke 2 ribs.
Miles Teller's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
J.K. Simmons is a gem.
hard.
Yeah, that's a super hard one. That's just honestly, and
did they not have a crash pad behind them or something?
I mean, you saw him hit the deck.
Yeah.
The camera was actually on the ground.
Right. It's a ground level shot whenever he lands. That just shows how much of a poor actor he is, truly.
The film is one of the lowest grossing movies ever to be nominated for Academy Award for Best Picture.
I did know that.
Which I don't know what the budget was for this movie. I'm sure it was.
It was marketed very poorly though. It was clear. It was such an
also,
Oscar bait movie.
It's very been a bunch of word of mouth movies.
Yeah, for sure. This was an indie type movie, anyways.
And
Sundance
since then,
like
Damien has blown up after La La Land and after all the Oscar buzz. Like now, he's like people have retroactively gone back to really like this.
Has he done anything much since La La Land?
I feel like he's done something since. I don't remember what it was though. Do you have his IMDb up on chance?
The budget was $3.3 million. Yeah, I get it.
2.2 of that was J.K. Simmons' ribs.
Yeah. I feel like most of the budget for this movie just has to be paying the actors.
He did 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Like there's a lot of scenes.
He wrote 10 Cloverfield Lane, and we all like that movie.
We all love that movie.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know of any of these other things.
Of his other movies?
No.
Well, as they're looking through there to see if there's anything we know, we will do our next segment that Dylan loves so much.
Finn.
Perfectly fit.
All right, okay, they'll take the words right out of my mouth.
First Man, that's the other Oscar buzz movie.
Never heard of that one.
It was an Oscar buzz movie in 2019.
And I am obviously going with fit. Nathan.
I mean, it's fit. They're exhausting scenes, but they probably need to be.
Yeah, it's fair. I never felt the runtime on this one. It's fat. Fuck you.
It's definitely fit.
Cut all the Miles Teller scenes in this movie.
The reason why I think it's so fit is, again...
What's the runtime on this?
I don't know.
I think it's an hour 40. I think it's an hour 40.
40. Sounds about right.
For the amount of drumming that happens in the movie, you should be exhausted. Like, you should be like, God, is there anything else that they're going to do? Mm-hmm. You know, can he stop yelling for a minute? And, but yeah.
Just take it.
Yeah, just have
just take it.
I'm done. So yeah, it's fit.
It's like the raccoon game.
Yeah.
It's fit.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can go to the scores. Alright, so...
Here, I got you.
Alright.
Yeah.
Are you want me to go first?
Yeah. I mean, Mason goes last. It's his movie.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough. I have been wanting to watch this movie for a while. I remember I told somebody here, or I talked about it at some point. I told Mason heard it at some point. He said, "Just wait. I plan on putting it on the wheel at some point." I said, "Okay, that sounds great. I can wait to watch it. I'm hyped to watch it, but not enough to go and watch it on my own." But after watching it, I love this movie. Just as I said in the Annihilation review, the thing I really want in movies, if it's not a comedy, so it gets kind of that cop-out with the characters, is I want good characters, and that's what this movie has. It focuses on Neiman and Fletcher and the people around Neiman just a little bit, but all of those serve to help develop his character. I don't think we really talked enough about his dad, who is pretty important to this movie because it goes directly against Dylan's point that he's a terrible person. He obviously loves his dad and wants
Hitler
to be
probably
seen,
loved his dad.
He wants to be seen good in his eyes.
That's a terrible.
I mean, there's the one scene again at the finale, which I may even go into again, is that whenever he goes off stage because he's hurt, he hugs his dad, gets like not even really reassurance because his dad says, "Come on, you did good, let's go," and that's when Neiman goes, "No, I'm not done," and then goes back out there, and then once he finally gets going. His dad, after having the amazing dining room scene, finally sees his son and goes, he is amazing. Yeah. And I do see why he's so into this. And it has just that one shot of him just looking at him through the door, and that's it. And the finale is absolutely incredible. I was watching this movie with Kel, and I said, like, just feel my hands right now. And she goes, why are you so sweaty? Because I was so invested in it. I loved everything. I love J.K. Simmons. Uh-huh. I did not go into this liking Miles Teller. It's still just Miles Teller. I don't care who it is. He did really good. I thought he really sold this role. I think when you saw his emotions come through and he punched the drum set, you felt why he did that. When he cries one single tear while being berated by J.K. Simmons, you feel that because you would probably be doing a lot more than that.
I don't think he was really upset, though.
I don't know. He was...
I'm upset!
Oh, okay, I went to not talk about it. Tell all the people you're making wait that you're upset. Yeah. Talking about the poor background people for you, Nathan, a little bit. The runtime doesn't go on too long. It just cuts at the end. Doesn't give you any of that extra stuff, which I just absolutely love. There is nothing I can really think of that I dislike particularly about this movie. I've gone in. I kind of liked jazz before. It's one of the reasons I like the Persona games so much. The music in it's kind of jazzy in the background, so I've always kind of had a natural affinity to it. Not to this level, not the band, real loud drums kind of stuff. Not too into that, but it still made it interesting. But that's not what you're there for. You're there for the psychological battle between Neiman and Fletcher. That's what you're there for, and I think the dialogue and the story really propel that and sell you on this world and get you so invested into this. It makes me love it. I promise you, I want to smack that button, but I need to rewatch this.
Do it, coward.
I need to see I'm not throwing a 10 on it until I know that it holds up on the rewatches and everything.
Just drop it on it like you did Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
I didn't even give Foxcatcher a 10.
Like Tim and Eric.
I love that movie. I don't care. I sell that now. I own it. I own that 10. I would watch it right now if you let me.
You know, you fought against that 10 for so
long.
I
did.
And we finally convinced you.
Yeah, because you reminded you that you were
decided that you owned
Just every little skit in Tim and Eric is hilarious to me. Still a 10. This one I want to give a 10. Maybe someday I will, but until I rewatch it some more and really think about it, because those few movies that get a 10 are my favorites, and this one really could be in that category. But for now, I'm going to give it a 9.5. I told Mason he did a great job. After I got done watching it, I loved this movie.
Mason didn't make this
very good.
Yeah.
He did nothing. He just
Can I?
No.
It's the favorite. It's definitely my favorite movie that I have not picked. I really, really like this movie.
Yeah, he won't give it a 10.
Yeah, I want to, but the rewatch is super important to me.
So, this is a good movie. The problem to me is, though it is a good movie, it is not a movie that I actually liked, because I didn't care about the subject matter. I didn't like you know, it's good acting and it's like great dialogue and all that kind of stuff. It really is. So like from a perspective of like critically, is this a good movie? Yes. It's just not a movie that I like. It's not something I ever want to watch again.
You never know until he's in it.
I was a little bit rolling my eyes through quite a lot of this just because we had watched The Novice so recently.
Oh no.
And I was like, this is just the fucking Novice again. It wasn't. I mean, it really wasn't. In the end, you know, that was a good redemption to the movie. I think the end was great. It's just, I don't care for this movie at the end of the day. Doesn't matter how good of a movie it is not a movie for me.
No.
So I'm going to land at a 4. It's, you know, it's good, which keeps it higher than it would have been otherwise.
Genuinely, I asked this out of pure curiosity. Has Nathan given a very high score to anything other than like a fiction kind of movie? You know, like dystopian or just something more real. Like
even if it's like a about comedy. As real as it gets.
I asked that out of genuine curiosity.
Repo, probably.
What?
I don't think
that doesn't count.
Captain Fantastic.
I assume
Captain
you mean
Fantastic.
like a grounded, realistic movie.
Right.
Captain Fantastic, I could see.
Captain Fantastic, I think, is a little whimsical too.
It is.
But it's more real than what I was thinking. I'm thinking more
right.
like dystopian fiction kind of world.
Dystopian sci-fi.
Captain Fantastic could kind of happen.
Yeah, it's in the realm.
It's super quirky and whimsical, but it's still real based. But Nathan's looking at that, so Dylan, you go.
Well, Nathan's processing that. Whatever, they're good. So, Price actually brings up a valid point I wouldn't have thought of until he brought up the dad. The dad's actually kind of terrible too, a little bit. Like, he's heartwarming, but hold on. But he brings up the point that he's like, only until the end of the movie does he finally actually start to be like, wow, my son is amazing. And you're right! Which means, this dad does, alright, he's like a good, like, solid, like, you know, check in on your dad. Oh, great, I'm glad you're, like, liking your drumming stuff or whatever. He doesn't realize how, like,
he
good
says verbatim at the beginning of the movie, I don't understand you.
I know. But it's that point where I'm just like, bro, Dad, why don't you put more effort into it? You're supposed to care about your kid here.
He's in college. What do you do
and
with
he's
that
also
boy?
a musician. Like, if
and he's
my
a grown-ass man.
this
in
would
his
be
own
my
apartment.
dad if I picked up a pair of drumsticks and I said, hey, guess what? I'm going to be a musician. Literally for
No,
19
I would
years
never
of my
see
life,
this
he would
guy.
be like, I don't know, you should probably have a backup plan. That's what he would say. That's how almost any dad
I would
be.
Totally.
Okay, understandably, I am not the expert on that topic. So
You just wanted to say that way you could intro
no,
that.
no, I didn't build up for that joke.
That was a good one, man.
I didn't build up for that joke.
It was.
But it brings up to the point where it's just like the dad's not invested until he's literally there with him, and it makes me wonder why the dad hadn't been there for the other concert. There was like 2 other concerts before this. Why wasn't the dad there for that?
He traveled for those.
Yeah, the dad could have traveled. The dad ain't doing shit. He's eating. All right, first of all, he's eating Raisinets on his popcorn. This man is.
But I do want to say for the record, he's not on Miles Teller's case anymore. Now he's just on the dad's case.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care.
Anyway, so Miles Teller's fucking awful. But credit where credit's due. It all makes sense in the world. He's believable. At least I'll give him that. Like I feel as though Miles Teller plays a person that is somebody I would know. Somebody who is painfully driven to a fault that is frustrating and just does not give a shit about what everybody else is doing and going on because he needs to be the most important person.
He seems more believable than the girl in the novice.
Oh, nah, I think the girl in Novice is also just as believable. Like,
I don't think that change at the end is what makes me not.
I
think she's a real person.
Credit where credit's due. I also see a wide spectrum of very mentally ill people. So
You do?
I know a person. I know people like that in that category. But
Fair.
I'm not here to also plug that I'm a therapist and not also plugging my daddy issues today. The point is,
he's covered both bases.
covering all the bases. Moral of the story: this movie is good though. This movie doesn't try to be any more than what it wants to be. It is incredibly fit to a fault. It knows its scope. It's directed very well. Miles Teller is obnoxious and annoying and frustrating, but the character is supposed to be that, so I'm not going to fault him for that. But he is an awful human being. The character. And also Miles Teller. J.K. Simmons is absolute gem. This is an 8. The only reason this is not more than an 8 is because Nathan gave it a 4. Wow.
Damn. Darn.
Wow. He killed it. My God.
Yeah, you thought he was the one shooting from
Yeah.
the other side of the trench.
Me and Nathan
there.
didn't coach this ahead of time, but we were feeling the vibes on that one, and I was like, I think maybe.
Yeah, whenever you were saying that you thought I was more outside of the movie, I was like, oh.
I know, you said he was closer to you.
For him.
You never know until we're at the
It's
scores.
just it never makes sense to me because Nathan's like, I agree. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is a good point. But no.
But I don't like the movie.
I know, and that's
my
totally fair.
score.
That's why I said that comment a second ago, is that it's just not his cup of tea.
I will tell you the
Which is
difference
fair.
between mine and Nathan is that I enjoyed the experience. Nathan did not enjoy the experience.
Which is
That's
a pretty big part of the movie.
Which is a
Yeah,
big
it's huge.
influence on the score. J.K. Simmons does a lot for me, though. I fucking love J. Jonah. I love him.
Yeah.
He's great, and he cracks teardrops for this movie.
Have you watched Korra yet?
Korra?
Legend of Korra?
Yeah, Legend of Korra. Yeah, I was just like, wait, we're talking.
Like, that's him. Yeah, he's in that too.
Yeah, great. Anyway, good movie. Very fit, very solid all the way through. For the record, I rated this the same as Annihilation. So if Price wants to go on about me saying how much I like Annihilation, I put them at the same score for at least grade. That being said, I like Annihilation more, but it's still both 8s.
Nathan, did you find anything
Mason.
before Mason goes?
Moonrise Kingdom, Mira and the Dying Girl, and then 10
Both my
Cloverfield
movies.
Lane is one where I would say it's like, I guess
It's
it
pretty
is kinda-
grounded.
Yeah.
It's grounded until the last.
Until.
Yeah, my biggest gripe of the movie.
Until.
Was 10
Yeah,
Cloverfield
you
yours
just,
or
you
mine?
just ignore
All
that
those are
part.
mine.
Okay.
And
Moonrise,
most
yeah.
of the movie is pretty grounded.
So basically, it's fiction and teen dramas that are basically
Guys,
fiction.
did you hear him?
Yeah.
Captain Fantastic, Moonrise, me and Earl.
All movies I
And
picked.
10 Cloverfield Lane. No, sir. No, sir, you did not. Let me tell you what you didn't pick.
I thought he said Promare, Paprika.
Yeah.
Paprika, actually.
Pathology, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what?
Pathology.
The Novice has some paprika energy, though, doesn't it?
The Novice,
No.
Paprika. No.
Energy? Like
Not at
you-
all. Mason, will you
I
please
feel
go?
exhausting.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my only real qualms with this movie are the fact that it is such a little tiny project that they are dragging out quite a bit. It's a great movie, and I think that it's great if you're in the market for J.K. Simmons performances.
Is it
because
rushing or dragging?
I guess we'll find out.
Dragon.
J.K.
Smack him a couple
Simmons.
times.
The only thing I know J.K. from is like Juno. He's a great part in that. Obviously, Spider-Man. Trying
He's in Palm Springs too. He's really good in that.
Oh, he is in Palm Springs. That was an okay repetitive loop movie. So seeing him in this, I feel like he was actually able to flex a little bit. Another thing of trivia, the only line that was not written there was one line. Everything was written for him, which I don't know if that's a strength or a weakness, but being able to see him scream all of these things, not in his normal character, right? So I really liked all that. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 because not everyone's going to like this movie. Something that I've been doing,
25% of all viewers. So
something that I've actually picked up on just while we've been reviewing is like, that's another criteria that I try to throw in there. Is like,
is this universally?
Is Annihilation going to be something that everyone's going to like?
No.
I gave it a 7, teetering on maybe a 7.5, depending on the day.
Yeah.
But these scores should be what you
exactly
think. Right.
Exactly.
And that's why I gave this one.
Yeah.
I did.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a heavy factor, but I do start to think like, oh wow, this movie is going to be pretty like I love suggesting movies to people. I really do. But this one, this is one of those that I don't know that I could. Anyways, it's an 8.5. Tomato meter is
I was about to say, this feels like a movie loved by critics.
94 and a 94 audience.
Wow.
Ooh,
This
who's the guy?
This movie's been out for like
guy?
7 years,
Yeah.
8 years now, so it's a pretty hefty
I am
score.
almost there.
You are.
I am the critic.
You are the critic.
And
See,
the audience.
I told you you're more of a critic guy, you sellout. You fucking shill. Go follow William Bibbiani at Twitter, you fucking animal.
Who?
He did one of the reviews in the captions.
Rudy
for
Giuliani.
Whiplash.
That's what he said.
Rudy Giuliani.
I got it.
Alright.
I'll
I'll try to appeal to him.
We are gonna spin that wheel.
Because it's me, it's gonna be one of mine again because it's been 2
I haven't got a movie, I don't think, this whole season.
You haven't.
Ask and you shall receive.
What an okay spin.
It was alright. Perfect Blue. There you go.
What is it?
Perfect Blue.
I'm already grossed out.
What did I tell you? I just told... Dude, I'm killing it on the wheel this season.
I am going to say, before we watch this, for anybody who's actually not us watching this, I
this trailer
honestly would probably not recommend this to anybody else to watch.
What is that supposed to mean?
There's a scene in this that I told you about after I watched it that I was like, it was disgusting.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No, I think I've seen the scene. Wait,
it is.
This is a minute 44 trailer. God, oh.
It's the same director as Paprika.
Yeah. Which,
lovely.
Yeah,
which we know what that means.
No, it's a totally different vibe. Totally different.
Alright, well, we know where this is going.
Can we hear it?
Yeah, well, give it time.
I cannot. Is anything happening yet? Or is that music?
The trailer's just taking forever.
The trailer's just...
Oh, there we go. That's it. That definitely sounds like the movie.
This is a 97 trailer.
How old? Oh shit.
97.
This is Nina's last performance with Champ.
Who decided to become an actress.
I really hope that I can entertain you just the same as an actress.
This dub.
But sometimes
I'm watching it dub too.
this can be deadly. In the world of make-believe,
This is when Mima proves herself.
the price of fame
Don't worry, Mima, it'll be all right.
may not
These eyes.
Is it Nina or Nima?
It's Nima.
Where did this
M.
come from?
Yeah.
How do they know so much?
innocence is lost. Dreams become
That horse guy, the horse face guy.
They're all
I know
horse
I've
face.
seen. No, there's the especially one.
Yeah.
everything you do can be seen by everyone. And those you trust are really those you should fear.
Those who trust.
No longer belongs to you.
I love the 90s trailer.
I hate it.
Business.
This is like the overly dramatic trailers guy.
Yeah.
Honest trailers?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Excuse me, who are you?
Yeah, I'm into it. I like how it said a truly adult suspense thriller, and it's from 1997. I was like, I feel like there's been a bunch more since then.
This was,
This is big in 1997.
Well, what was Fight Club 98?
Please
99
watch.
and
Please
99.
watch the sub. By the way, Stardew
Sub.
Valley. You playing Stardew Valley?
I'm
Yeah.
watching the dub.
You're watching
Yeah,
It looks
we're,
so good.
we're-
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Who?
Please,
Still
seriously, please watch the sub.
Can I watch
I am
the
saying
sub?
that. No, and the thing is, it's not like Paprika. I've screened this before. I know that you can watch the sub. It's fine.
Okay.
Like, it's not like Paprika, like, God, Paprika. Throwing it all on the screen.
I was gonna try to get at least like one person to like watch the dub just in case, like just to see.
I volunteer.
As tribute?
Just don't. I'm telling you, the sub. I'm just telling you straight up.
We'll just see where the cards fall.
No,
anyway.
I'm picking the movie.
Alright guys, anyway, that's our show. Make sure to tune in next week for Perfect Blue. If you like the content we're doing, make sure to hit the bell, unlike J.K. Simmons hitting Miles Teller. There you go.
That's not a good one.
That's not my tempo.
That was a good one.
It's not quite my tempo.
Not quite my tempo.
Say that again.
Not quite my tempo.
Not 8 in the 4th? I don't know. He said
anyway, make sure to hit us in the comments below if we make sure you're hitting your tempo. And make sure to subscribe if you just like what we're putting out here. Guys, we do this every single week for you. Not anything to do for us.
Nope.
We're selfless. Oh my god.
Give us some comments. We'll talk to you.
We'll watch the raid too. Just tell us. Just tell us. Let us watch it. Come on, man. Alright, we'll see you next week with Perfect Blue.
Boy.
We promise it's not hentai.
Please don't watch it.
Why are
Just
you
watch
telling
the
our
review.
audience not to watch a movie that we have to talk about? I think it'll be a good